shut office in a couple of other ways, so.
Good evening, everybody. It's
Good
7
evening.
o'clock. Welcome to our December 16th Londonderry Utilities Committee meeting, 7 o'clock in the Moose Hill Conference Room in Town Hall. The meeting's been rescheduled. It was rescheduled from 2 weeks ago because of the snowstorm we had 2 weeks ago. So I hope everybody stayed home, was safe, enjoyed the snow. I think it was the right move to make for the time. So.
It was.
So with that, will please join me in the pledge of allegiance, following the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So just a quick moment here. So I know Jeff is not going to be here tonight, so I'm going to appoint John to vote for Jeff. Ann is not here, so I'm going to appoint Ray to vote for Ann. I don't know if she's going to show up or not. And John Ferrara is not here yet, so Joey, if you could vote for John.
I think John did intend to show up. I saw him this afternoon.
Intentions are great,
Yep, something could have come up.
yes. So, okay, so that gives us enough for a voting quorum. Moving on down the agenda, first item is public comment. We have no members from the public here tonight, so we'll continue on through that. Kirsten, I had you down for the town and committee strategic planning workshop. Do we have anything we want to walk through on that tonight?
That's up to you guys if you want to go over it again or if you'd like to think more on it. We're still gathering some info from some other committees and seeing where the overlap is, basically. So I know you said you're going to leave it on there for the next few months. If there's anything you all would like to discuss tonight, that's awesome. If not, we can just put it on, move it forward to January. However, I do have the committee charge, so I don't know when you would want to do that, but I did do what I said I would and redraft a committee charge for your perusal. So
So do you have that ready tonight? You can take a look at it?
it's open. Come on now.
Let's take a look at that while
All right,
it's
so let me
fresh.
see if I can, let's see. Okay. This doesn't have the same version of Word we do upstairs, which is a bummer.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the old one next to, or the one that we had last time next to this one, just so you can kind of see the difference. So to refresh everyone's memory, last time the general feedback was that it almost gave y'all too much authority and that it was too detailed and encompassed things that you weren't really positive had become your mission or had your mission had evolved into. So you can see that advise the town council and town manager on matters related to public utilities serving Londonderry, including water, sewer, septic, stormwater, solid waste, gas, and energy infrastructure. And then it went on from there. Promote coordinated planning and efficient utility service delivery to support community growth, environmental stewardship, and long-term sustainability. Just and on and on. And so like we crossed out this one down here, facilitate interdepartmental coordination, because you don't really do that. We added upon request to some of these. And then there's the question of where does stormwater fit in all of this? And the answer I got from talking with everybody else is it doesn't, so it's out. And I slimmed it down to,
Where did it go?
it's a staff thing. That stormwater, because of the compliance regulations, it's an engineering department thing.
Yeah.
So, so this is what I have as revised, is on the left here. So duties and responsibilities are serve as an advisory committee to the town council and town manager on utility services and policy affecting Londonderry, with primary focus on water, electric power, and solid waste and recycling, with advisory input on cable communications franchise matters when requested. I think that more accurately represents the balance of things that you cover in there.
I liked the previous draft where we said instead of serve as an advisory committee, said advise. It's just stronger. So advise the town council and town manager.
Sure.
Yeah, fewer words the better, I think.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Kirsten, could we jump up to the term thing above that for a sec? I just signed a 1 year.
Yes, that's because you guys weren't staggered when you were created.
Okay, so
So
that,
now this is the initial, so usually when you form a committee from scratch, you stagger the terms initially, but the emphasis when you all became a committee was forming the committee right away. So that was more urgent, so they didn't want to deal with sorting out terms then. They literally said, we'll deal with it in 2025, and voila, it's 2025. So now you have your staggered terms. Review and provide recommendations on water system issues, including infrastructure planning, system needs, service reliability, water quality, and conservation. So again, that's including, not has to. Review and provide recommendations on electric power issues, including municipal aggregation, power supply matters, and related public education. Recommend policies and provide guidance in public education regarding the management of solid waste, recycling, and compostable organics programs. Review and provide recommendations on utility-related plans, capital projects, and system improvements within the committee's scope. Serve as a public forum for resident concerns and suggestions regarding utility services within the committee's scope, and recommend public communication strategies for major utility changes or projects. Coordinate with town departments and utility providers as appropriate to support information sharing and practical problem solving. Upon request, provide advisory feedback on utility rate proposals, franchise agreements, and other cost or service charges affecting residents or municipal operations. And upon request, advise on local, state, or federal policy changes with clear impacts on utilities within the committee's scope. And lastly, same as always, serve as the municipal aggregation committee relative to electric power supply.
Just an observation, even though we've decided that stormwater isn't a part of the purview of the utility committee, a couple of times here we reference infrastructure appropriately, I think. And actually, stormwater management is in part a function of infrastructure.
Yeah, so it certainly overlaps.
So I mean, maybe with this, what we've got here gives us enough leeway or authority to get involved in stormwater infrastructure. But I think, I didn't see a reason to not have it. I mean, almost every one of our functions requires that we work with some member of the staff. I mean, that's, otherwise, why are we here? Or, do we even
Yep.
need a staff? I think so. So, to me, adding stormwater in there didn't hurt anything, and in the other bullets, we've effectively allowed it to sneak in anyway.
Yeah, so the concern with stormwater right now, those are all really valid points, Mike. And I think that there is a time when perhaps if the committee wanted to get more involved in that, I would say the town stormwater program isn't to a point yet where where the utilities committee interaction with it would be productive. I think down the road it could absolutely be there. In conversations with Sean, he suggested removing it for now until we get ourselves completely up to date and compliant with everything with stormwater and with MS4 and all that. So that came at Sean's suggestion, so.
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay, I just would like to say, in support of us having some input in regards to stormwater, I think this is really important. We're talking about interfracture. We're talking about interfracture because of water contamination 80% of contamination comes from stormwater runoff, okay? And so I think it's extremely important that we have some input in that regard. We're not steering the ship, the engineering department is. However, I think it would be beneficial if we had input in regards to that.
I can certainly put a note on that, and then ultimately, it's actually, the final decision is the council's, so I can certainly put a note on there. And, for example, I can, with advisory input on cable communications, franchise matters, and stormwater infrastructure when requested? Is that where you would see that fitting in, Mike and Ray?
Is that the first bullet? Is that
Yes,
what
yeah,
we're
sorry.
working on there? I don't know that we would wait for a request on any of those. Wouldn't we just, you know, wouldn't you, and the sentence at the word infrastructure?
Sure, can do that.
So before we get too much into the details of wordsmithing this, what I'd like to do is,
Yep.
run through what you just did, Kirsten, send this out to everybody. Let's wordsmith it at home when we've had a chance to sit and think about it.
Yeah,
And then we'll come back with our comments.
And you have one more meeting to do it, so the timeline for this is going to a first reading on January 19th.
Yep.
And then a public hearing on February 2nd. So that means it needs to be in the packet by January 10th. So then your next meeting is January 6th. So as long as we get this, your input finalized by the next meeting, we'll be in good shape.
Yep.
Awesome.
I would request that perhaps, if possible, we get a printout of that, everybody gets a printout of that. Now, yeah, we can bring it up on our laptop and print it out. If only I had a printer, I could do that. And I could
Ray, you are
Staples
welcome.
and do it, but, because if you're gonna look at it, I mean, looking at the screen here is a little difficult for me to see what it is. I like to have something in front of me, like I can make modifications to. Okay?
You're absolutely, if you want to print out, you're welcome to swing by and grab one. We generally don't default to printing anymore. So if you want to print out, by all means, stop by, we'll give you one. Absolutely.
Or
So-
text me and I'll get you one.
Yeah.
Would anybody else want one? No, okay, maybe you're all set.
Like I said,
No, I won't.
Well, I would suggest that we supply one for
It's
each
easier to
member,
edit.
but,
so
no,
that's,
we're trying to get away to a paperless
so yeah, we're not
society.
defaulting to printing, but if people want printed copies, they're welcome to swing by. And if I'm not here, I just ask Tanya in the town manager's office to print it out for you. And she has access to all of this. So yeah, anytime you want a printed copy, by all means, swing them to the town manager's office, for sure.
And but you're going to send it to us
I am going to send it around,
electronically?
yeah. I just wanted to present it to everybody first and confirm this is the direction that you wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
Are we all general consensus on that? Mike, I know you were one of kind of the most vocal last time. Are you comfortable with the direction that this is headed? I mean that as a positive thing. It's great. I love your input. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, short answer is, yeah, I'm good.
Cool. I look forward to seeing all of your edits. Feel free to send them to me in advance if you'd like.
But I reserve the right to edit.
Huh?
But I reserve the right to edit further.
Like I said, I welcome and value all of your input. I think it's great, so.
But to Kirsten's point, I'd like everybody to get in your comments.
Yes, by the next meeting,
Before the next meeting, so that they can be reviewed at the next meeting. Our next meeting
And so
is-
that all of us can look at them.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
And so the
January
goal is
6th is
January
the next meeting.
6th. Yep, the goal is to walk out of the January 6th meeting with all of you having suggested bullet points that all of you feel comfortable with.
Yep.
So. All right.
So we're all signing up to get Kirsten comments, either no comment or comments by that weekend before January 6th, so she has a little bit of time to
Depends on the
incorporate all the
Patriots
edits.
playoffs situation, but sure, we'll
Just
go with
saying.
that.
You'll be getting it out to us very shortly.
Yes, I'm actually going to start writing that email. I'm just going to send it the meeting to all
I
of
was
you
gonna
now.
say, why don't we just put January 1st down?
That sounds great.
Perfect.
I like to, as soon as possible.
That'll
As soon
give
as
you time.
possible, that was, it never means anything, because that just means as soon as I can get to it. That makes
I'm
lots
just
of
thinking
sense.
that I have so much to do, that do I have time to do that too? It's a busy time of year for most women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Men don't do very much for the holidays.
Hey, Mr. Chair, what's next on the agenda?
Wait a minute,
Sorry, I
Isn't
want to
Jan-
apologize.
isn't January 1st the New Year's?
Generally is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get it back by January 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll work on that.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, I've been Mr. Uber since August 30th. Yeah. No, honey, I want you to go back and exchange this. Okay, fine. No, that's not right either. Go back, fine. So I know what Christmas shopping's like.
Okay, good.
but she has to figure out what to get. See, that's
guess
the
what?
figure.
Okay, anything else to talk about with strategic planning? Kirsten, why don't you introduce our newest member?
I would love nothing
Jump ahead
more
and do
than
that.
introduce you to our new Deputy Director of Public Works, James Danis. He
Great.
comes to us from Salem, where he was a capital projects engineer. So right up our alley, exactly what we want. You all have been asking for engineering input, engineers, so don't say I didn't ever get you anything. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Here's James. We're really excited to have him. He has a wealth of knowledge on everything that you guys deal with. And for the time being, you're gonna, until we get through basically this whole water plan, this whole round of the water plan, you get both of us, and then James is gonna transition to being your primary staff member moving forward, because now that the Public Works Department is more staffed up, they're probably the best people to work with you. And I will, of course, remain available after that, and I'll be still overseeing all the boards and commissions, but James will take over day in, day out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. James, you wanna
James,
say-
what's your last name again?
It's Danis.
Danis, D-A-N-I-S?
That's correct.
Thank
He's a
you.
nameplate.
It's in the November minutes.
I see. Thank you. Well,
James, do you have any
I will
ties
make
back
that
to
motion,
Londonderry? We had a neighbor named Danis that moved out of town probably 8 or 10 years ago, but
Family ties? No,
Oh, okay.
I don't believe so.
I was kind of curious about that, so it'd be a small world if that was true.
I was curious too, do you have any environmental studies or environmental science background?
Some studies, a handful of classes in college, and over the last 26 years, experience dealing with environmental permitting and that kind of stuff. Mostly wetlands-based type environmental permitting, and then beyond that, conferences and that kind of stuff. So I got a fair amount of knowledge and background in.
Thanks.
I would say welcome. And I've heard through relatives in Salem that their loss is our gain.
It's nice to know I have that type of a reputation. It's actually pretty
the head
flattering.
just grew 3 sizes.
That's pretty flattering. Make sure you tell your relatives in Salem that I appreciated that compliment.
Well, with that comes high expectations.
Yeah.
I
Get to
have.
know us.
I am realizing there is a very, very high bar here that's been set by reputation alone, and I'm really hoping to be able to live up to it.
Well, it's certainly a symbiotic relationship, we're looking forward to working with you, and any questions you have, certainly reach out to us, and we'll do our best
Yeah, of course.
to get everything that we can do for you, accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you just give us your telephone number?
No.
Office telephone number.
His extension is 133. That's actually
I've got too many
an
things to say.
important point. James's office is actually over at 120 High Range Road. His office is in the Public Works facility, not upstairs with ours. So, as you may or may not know, the plan is to merge the Public Works and Engineering departments. You've been hearing this throughout budget season, merge them back into one department. So, it's a little bit of a reorganization, but with that, it brings the 2 admins who were split between 2 departments back into the same department. It makes a lot of sense. And so that's going to free up the engineers to be engineers. And Dave to be continuing to be the person where everybody says, oh, we'll just ask Dave to do it. So,
Excellent. Well, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Moving on down, so I had first here the 2026 committee leadership elections. Just for everybody who doesn't know, I'm sure probably most people do now. I'm stepping away from the leadership role of this committee. I stepped away from the planning board in its entirety, just life dictating that I go in other directions, or put most of my energy in other directions for the next couple of years. And it's just been a pleasure working with you folks, and I do look forward to continuing working with you folks, but in a different capacity. I'm going to focus my energies on the energy subcommittee with community aggregation and solar, and working with that subcommittee to hopefully bring some of these programs we've been talking about to fruition. But with that said, my term as a full member expires at the end of this month. We typically have in our rules of procedure say we have our elections, our committee elections, the first meeting after the town election in March. So with that, we're not going to be able to, we would have no leadership for at least 3 months. And I see no problem, Kirsten has no problem with us having our elections early so that we have a leader effective the first meeting in January.
most boards that are appointed actually do change their officers over in January anyway, so.
Yep. So, I think we've had some really good discussions about the leadership. I think there's some very qualified people on this board to take over as chair and to take over as vice chair as appropriate. I would like to say that Martha Smith has been a wonderful person for me to work with, and I think she shows the leadership characteristics, the depth of knowledge, the passion to take on the job as chair. With that said, I think her role will be freeing up, if approved, her role will be freeing up as vice chair, and I'd like to recommend that we appoint Jeff McGraw as vice chair of the committee. And John Ferrara does a phenomenal job as secretary. No, he does. And
We love you, John.
regardless of what he says, he does. And John, I think, has graciously agreed to stay on as secretary. So I would like to entertain any discussion people might have, and then I would like to take some motions and have some votes. Any discussion? Seeing
Chair?
none.
I'm just wondering, since Jeff isn't here, do we need to have Jeff here to vote?
I don't see
Do
why
we have
we-
anything from him? Did he say anything or send
I've
anything?
talked with him, and he's
Oh,
willing to
okay.
do it.
He's had
okay.
conversations with me, Martha, and Lynn.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's more than willing to do it.
We had a caucus.
You did?
Yeah.
We didn't have a quorum.
No, we didn't have-
Wasn't
Did not have a caucus.
No, we didn't.
Dear Lord. Come on, y'all.
Cover her ears, James.
I knew that would get her attention.
I'm just soaking it all in. I'm just soaking it all in.
So before we get to a vote, just to set this record straight. So John is presence of joy. Sorry, no vote. And Ray, Ann is here, so no vote on your part either will be necessary tonight. Okay? So I would love to hear a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr.
I
Spells.
recommend that we adopt the slate as recommended by our current chair. That is to say, Martha as our chair, Jeff as our vice chair, and John to continue as chair, as the secretary.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ann. Any discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you,
Thank you.
Martha. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jeff, if you're watching. And I think this committee.
Sorry if we got it wrong.
Yeah. I think this committee is just made up of some wonderful people who are very committed to this town and to what they bring to this committee, and I think it's going to continue on down that path.
I just have to say, be careful when you miss a meeting, because Dave Wally missed the last joint loss management committee meeting, and now he's the vice chair.
Yeah, I tried.
It's kind of a trend.
I would like to say on the record that to express our appreciation to Lynn.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with
for
that.
all of his efforts and leadership for this committee. You put a lot of time and effort into this, so thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure
yeah.
working with you.
Definitely
So,
appreciate it.
Startup is tough, and thank you.
Great.
And I'd like to commend the whole committee because I think we work wonderfully together, and I really appreciate that.
And we will continue.
Thank you all.
We may continue, no. Moving on, approval of prior meeting minutes, November minutes. John, I know you sent minutes out. Any last minute comments from anybody?
Right, I got a couple of edits that were just spelling and plurals and stuff like that. I think John sent it to me. Or was it, one of those two?
Both of those two have been known to send comments?
7 comments, both of them. I got 3 editors, and that was it. It was just, the word's grammatical, sorry.
Perfect. I'll entertain a motion to approve the November minutes.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And any discussion? All in favor of approving November minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And they are unanimously approved. Moving on to discussions with staff. Kirsten, anything else that we need to run through?
At the risk of making this meeting long, no, I'm just kidding, it's not gonna be that much. All right, so I do have 2 things. One is I wanted to speak with you all briefly about the presentation we are making in Concord on Friday to the Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and hoping, and provided that their schedules cooperate, the Speaker of the House and the Senate President, both of whom are coincidentally from Londonderry. We are going to be making this pitch about the future of water system expansion in Londonderry. And we're going to be presenting to them the list of the projects that we have drawn up. We are going to be presenting them with the funding that we think that we need and require to move forward getting our folks clean water, clean drinking water. The presentation will be done by myself, Casey Harding from Pennachuck, John Trottier, and Ron Dunn. And anybody who would like to join us from the Utilities Committee would be welcome to do so as a member of the audience to see what this looks like and to also just show your support. The meeting is at 1:30 p.m. Yes, that math is right. 1:30 p.m. on Friday. We're going to meet here by 12:15. We're asking anybody who wants to go, feel free to take your own car, but we're asking that people caravan up there together. So we meet from here, go up there together so we can go through security all together so nobody's trying to go back and help somebody find a room. We want to come in together and make a strong presence. Make sure if you're going to come, you bring a photo ID. You need that to get through security. And just a reminder that this is a very tightly scripted presentation. This isn't a public hearing. There won't be a public comment period. This is, there'll be about a 35-minute presentation followed by a question and answer period where the state will ask us questions. And then I'll moderate and pass it around the board to answer. Sean Mulholland, Dave Wally, and James will also be up there with us, as well as the leadership of the Public Works Department and our executive leadership. So, yeah, John.
Building and building room?
I don't have it on me right now, but again, that's, I'll send out a run a show. Can I get a show of hands of who is interested in attending on Friday?
Right now.
Perfect. All right, that's exactly who I thought, and then I think Jeff as well.
Yes.
So, all right, so I will send it out to the 6 of you, which is, like I said, exactly who I thought I would be sending it out to. And yes, like I said, I would ask that you do meet here and drive up with us, though. Yes, Ray?
Yeah, I do have a question. I have on my calendar here, on the 18th, the town manager strategic plan, 8:30 to 10 a.m. Is that just for staff or what?
No, that's entirely different. That's a different thing. That's the strategic plan. This is the presentation to the Department of Environmental Services in Concord. It's a busy week.
Yeah, I understand, but could you explain what this is?
Yes, it's a strategic, like we've been doing the strategic plan workshops. This is one for the public. That one that you're referencing, it's for the public, but it has an economic development focus. So, we've been talking about strategic objectives in here that have a utilities focus. This public workshop on Thursday morning will have a economic focus.
Okay, so it's a public
Event, yeah.
event?
Yep.
Okay.
When you say meet here at 12:30 on Friday, do you mean here?
12:15.
In this room?
Outside, depends on if it's raining or
It's supposed to be raining.
Wait in the car.
There or
probably the
where?
we'll meet in the lobby down
Lobby,
here at
lobby.
12:15, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
made that decision on the fly.
Good job.
If anybody doesn't want to drive up, we're planning on taking a couple of the town vehicles as well, so. The nice comfy assessing ones, not the engineering trucks. But, yeah.
We want to take a snowplow, is what we wanted to do.
Oh, no, it's actually
Drive a
supposed to
dump
be
truck.
at like 50 degrees on Friday, so.
Drive the dump truck
yeah.
up.
Any questions on this? Any questions on that presentation?
What do you want confirmation from those who are planning on attending?
Yes, please, if you could, I'll send it out. I'll send out the run of show to you tomorrow. If I could just get confirmation by the end of day on Thursday that you're going to be joining us.
Yep.
And then if you change your mind, if anything comes up, no worries at all. Just please text me or call me on Friday morning.
Yep. Okay,
So.
great.
And if you're not here by 12:20, we're leaving you behind. Awesome. So yeah, we're really excited for it. We think this is going to be a good chance to tell, the folks in Concord, this is what we need from you to get our people, the residents of Londonderry, clean, safe drinking water. And the focus of this is going to be the areas that are outside the consent decree area for which there is no solution yet.
Yep.
So think that that area between Shasta and Litchfield, those small side streets that are right off High Range Road, those are some of the areas that we're going to be emphasizing, as well as the area of Lorden Commons, off Old Dairy Road, the Calla and Lily extension where they're having both supply and contamination issues. And then we're going to continue, and the hope is that we can get funding through the state, through the federal government moving forward, so we can move through these 12 projects as quickly as possible. And then we can come up with another round of 12 and we can keep going. So, the next thing that I have is about the special assessment district for water. For those of you who knew the warrant articles, there's one on there for $400,000 to fund special assessment districts for water. We ran into a tiny snag, medium-sized snag, in that towns with a budgetary town meeting do not have the authority to their council can't create a special assessment district. It has to be petitioned by the residents to form it. Now, so we're gonna need some help from you guys collecting signatures and spreading the word.
How many?
So initially, we were going to do a special assessment district for every single household that was in one of these 12 projects,
Right.
plus the households that could get water next year, because they already have a curb stop. That number is close to 800, and so we're not going to have time to get 400 signatures right now. Now, there's nothing to say that we can't keep expanding it with new petitions in the future. So what we're focusing on is the households that have curb stops and then will have water by the time the special assessment district would be funded if it passes on the warrant, which is July 1st of next year. So the addresses we're looking at are the ones on High Range Road, which are not part of the consent decree area for hookups. So either on the east side of High Range Road or the west side of High Range Road for poets only, okay? Because some places, the other reason for that is that St. Cobain is only responsible for places that tested over 12. The state says you're eligible for a rebate over 4, and the town under the special assessment district will help you fund your connection. We're hoping if you have any contamination. So that's why the other side of High Range Road that has poets would be eligible for this too. Yeah.
I know there's 800, but for a warrant article, I thought we just needed 100 flat, or is a percentage that we have to have that we're
So-
doing for a district?
So this is actually, it's two different things. Funding it is just a straight 50-50 vote.
Yeah,
the Warren article to get the special assessment district, it's different. It's not done on the warrant. It's not done on the ballot.
Okay,
It's done through a separate process, so it's not tied to the same time frame. But you need to get 50% of the owners in the district and 65% of the assessed value. So I'm gonna have a little thermometer in my office that I'm coloring up. So that means, so High Range Road, Parmenter Road, Old Nashua Road, Old Dairy Road. The places where the lines went in this year, that will be charged and ready to go next year. Those will be in it. And then possibly South Road, I'm not sure, depending on what happens with the curb stops on South Road.
listening, part two, question, a suggestion. Is it possible we could get a text message to those people with a header explaining to them what we're trying to do and ask them to come in to a desk and sign?
So we have a couple of things that at the next kind of, I don't know if you guys are having another water subcommittee meeting before January. But at the January meeting, we're working on a plan right now to get those signatures. It's about somewhere between 172 to 207 households, depending on, I have to cross-reference the list of households I have with the St. Cobain property lists as to what they said they were going to do poet for and what they said they were going to do attachment for. There's a little bit of work I have to do on that to compare. But so it means we're going to need somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 to 105 signatures, representing 65% of the assessed value. Now, looking down the list, there's 7 or 8 people I know, right? And I think the important thing is going to be going out and educating people. We're planning on holding information sessions in here, little basically information open houses on it, where people can just stop in, and then if they are comfortable, they can sign the petition a couple times a week in January and into February. And the point of that is to really drive home that these special assessment districts, you won't pay anything unless you decide to take advantage of it. And that's going to be really important to drive home. People are going to be like, well, why should I pay for other people's water? You're not. You're only taking the lien on, taking the special assessment onto your taxes. It's not a lien, it's a special assessment. You're only doing that if you hook up.
Yep.
And this is to help those people who want to hook up, who may not have the liquidity to do so. And the other thing is it attaches the funding to the house and not the person. So it goes with the house and not the person's credit. That's the other thing. So if it goes on your taxes, if you end up needing $10,000 over, and you're paying it back over 20 years, and you move after 10 years, the next owner pays it for the next 10 years, right? So it goes with the property, not with the owner. And that's an important distinction because it's an improvement, of water.
Is the general range of cost for that hookup 10,000?
That was just a number I kind of pulled out.
Right, I was just.
It's going to vary wildly, and that's the thing. And so we are still working out the details and how we're going to take in those applications and prioritize them. But the cost is going to vary wildly. People are going to be expected to apply for the state rebate first and take that money in. And we're working out how we're going to come to terms with contractors to agree to maybe longer payment terms to allow this to work through the process. So there's some things that we're still working out on that, but that process can happen at the same time as we're gathering signatures to do this. I think it's really important that we start getting people interested. And again, if they sign the petition, it does not mean they're signing up to be assessed. The lovely thing about a special assessment district is you're allowed to apportion the benefits to the taxes, a portion based on the benefit received. So if you don't receive a benefit, you don't carry any of the burden. You only are paying for yourself, and that is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray.
I think this is great, but we, at least some of us, would be willing to assist in that regard. But it's a little tough to be outdoor knocking. And so I assume, and you already said, the town is going to be holding some events. And by the way, we're also, as we know, talking about having a water town hall. Are we saying the 26th of?
Haven't finalized the date on that. Still working on finalizing
Okay,
the date, but it's
so
coming up. Yeah.
26, 27, whenever it is.
Yep.
Which is be an excellent opportunity to get the word out. So I think we need to think about that. as to
Absolutely.
How are we going to do that and how are we going to present that?
Yep.
That would be a perfect time to do that, but in the meantime, if you want to do that between now and that time, fine. Getting the word out is always the question. How do you get it out? So,
To be completely honest with you, Ray, I'm hoping that between myself, the 10 of you, and Ron, we'll know at least 40 different households in that area. I'm really hoping we'll know about half the people. If we all look down the list of names, we'll know about half the people. If you think about it, that's part of the reason we're all community members, right? I'm hoping that that's the case. That's where I desperately will need your help first. So you're not necessarily going door knocking, you're calling or texting somebody you
so
know.
you're going to provide that information of
Yeah.
who these people are.
Yes, yep. It's all from the assessing database. It's all, you can go down, I pulled out the properties, and I just need to, like I said, I need to cross-reference it a little bit more to make sure it's completely accurate before I bring it forward. My focus this week is on Friday. My focus over the holiday week and the week after is going to be refining that list. So,
Can I just make one suggestion? And I'm not sure if it's happened yet. It's understandable if it hasn't. When Mindy Mesner came and gave a presentation to us last fall, at 324, we have a copy of her presentation on sort of the issues of water contamination. And I'm thinking that it might help to put that presentation up on the town website under water.
thought I did, but I'll double check. I may have not gotten to it, but yeah, I can double check and put that
Okay.
under there. Yeah,
Just more information out there. And she will be coming to speak at the library.
that's excellent.
Library, we did get that set up. So she's going to come in March and speak again. But I think any information that we can get up on the website will be.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be a big push on this. I'm sure there'll be we all know how social media can kind of take something and spread it and inflame it, and it becomes an animal that it wasn't. Again, we want to make it really clear to people that they are not going to be paying for other people's water connections. They are just signing off to let people be assessed for their water connection. And if people say, well, what's making them pay it back? It's the same as their taxes on their house. So if you don't pay it, you get a tax lien, right? So we're helping people finance it, and then we have the best collateral in the world for it, basically, which is the house. So it goes with the house, and yeah, so that's the big thing, is really, I cannot stress that enough, is that we're not using, and people will pay back the full amount too. They'll pay back the whole thing. There's no forgiveness on it or anything, so people will pay back the full amount, so it's loaning people the money. And we're asking that it be that the initial funding come from the undesignated fund balance. John, you had a
What
question? I'm
happens?
sorry, give me 1 second. John had a question.
Do you have, I know that, I think you need 50% is what I heard.
50% of the owners and 65% of the assessed
And I also
value.
understand that signing this document doesn't commit somebody to hook up.
Yep,
But you can probably sense that there'll be some reluctance on the part of somebody that's not intending to hook up. I love my well, folks, okay? They might be reluctant to sign, so you've got to help
absolutely.
your friends and neighbors kind of pitch, but that's fine. Do you have a sense for what people are saying in terms of hooking up? Do they seem to be willing to? Do you have any sense on that?
We
Or-
haven't sent out any formal numbers yet. I will say that Pennachuck, once they started putting the water line in, got a lot of people asking them questions along High Range, like a lot. So I think we've been trying to finalize this package of information and how we're going to do it, because we don't want to go to people. And actually, we're glad we didn't send out this information before, because it wouldn't have been 100% accurate saying that we can have the council form it. So now we know, we got our legal opinions and everything. Now we have it, so we're going to be able to send that information out. There'll be a mailing to these households explaining what it is, explaining that somebody will likely want to talk to them about it, with those questions, like key questions, like, will this cost me anything if I don't want it? Am I obligating myself to sign up for water? No. If I don't connect, will I have to pay anything? No. Being clear about what the fee would be because you do still have to pay the fee that Pennachuck pays to Manchester. They have a $1,300 fee to connect. That's just a pass-through. Pennachuck doesn't take any of it. It's Manchester's fee. And then they have an inspection fee at the end when it's done. Like, it won't cover those. So we'll be really clear about that as well. So,
But I would think there's, Pennachuck, a lot of people have been calling Pennachuck, asking questions, particularly about, why am I not getting bottled water? Am I getting bottled water? And other questions about hookup, and I would think Pennachuck would have some kind of a feel as to what the general public is feeling as far as hooking up.
like I said, they've had a lot of interest there. They don't have anything to do with the bottled water.
No, but doesn't Pennachuck have any idea of what the general feeling is?
That's why I said they said that they got a lot of interest. They don't have hard numbers. No, they did not do a hard number survey. No,
Or just a ballpark?
they don't have a ballpark number.
Really?
There's not a number. No,
It's probably just ad hoc comments that people
Exactly.
make.
I guess my
Bring the pipes.
point, Kirsten, is, you will have, I think, a battle for some of these folks.
oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, and you may need some of them. And in terms of your approach, and I hear you're still formulating that, but you probably want to know, and that maybe you could commission Pennachuck to try to get an initial soft survey anyways, to provide some numbers so you know what kind of fight you're getting into. If you have a lot of folks that are going to be reluctant, you might want to go door to door or do the phone call from friends thing and approach the whole thing a little differently than you would if there's just a general wave of, hey, we're all getting on board on this.
I will say that from my conversations with individual residents, I sense there's at least a willingness to learn more about it. I think the general people are open-minded about doing it. I think most people don't, we're New Englanders. We don't want to be forced to do anything, right? It's against the New Hampshire ethos. But I think there's a general willingness out there now that people have seen all the work going through to learn more about it. And I like to give our residents that much credit, that they're at least going to be open-minded enough to learn about it, provided that we are available enough to answer questions. And I think that's the big thing, is making sure that we are able to answer and speak to it when they do reach out and say, hold on, I don't want to be charged for this. And you can say, great, we won't.
Right, so for what it's worth, I came from a town that had contamination. Our street had municipal water. People came knocking on the door, although for sale signs were not up, looking to buy on that street. The value of houses on that street, 10 times greater than the cost of installing
Really?
municipal water. So one interesting dynamics for all of that is, yes, you'll pay, but in the end, if you ever sell your home, you probably will get the value back and then
Gonna mean something.
significantly more
Yeah.
because it's now municipal water. That was the experience in our street.
I'm also curious, if you're making the presentation to DES and the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate, those folks, hopefully, they're going to have some role in being able to get the town of Londonderry some additional money.
That is the entire goal of this presentation, is to
That's
figure
what I
out
figured,
how
yeah.
they would suggest we go about asking for money.
And
I
I
wanna
guess
be
I'm just
transparent
curious,
on that.
so
Yep.
there is a chance that people won't have to pay their full amount. There's a chance that,
I would not
even
go down
from-
that path.
Well,
No,
even-
DES
wouldn't even-
will only fund the infrastructure. They
wouldn't
won't
even
fund the
suggest it.
connections.
Well, I would suggest it because this is such a huge problem, not just to this town, and it's not just water. As you guys know, it's now farmland and everything else out there where people, state of California grows all its vegetables. Most of it has PFAS and PFOA on it. So I think that there is a chance in a few years, definitely not right now, but potentially in a few years that the federal government is going to have to federal government or potentially those responsible. And there is a piece of legislation that Chris Papp is going to introduce. So this is not so far-fetched, that the federal government will have to come in and contribute some funds, or those who are responsible, the 3Ms and the DuPonts, et cetera, will have to provide some more funding. I mean, $8 million to the state of New Hampshire in that suit is not a lot of money.
Yeah, I understand where you're
You
coming
know
from,
what I'm
Ann.
saying? So and there's going to be a reaction from the public. I mean, the public's going to say, you know, and they're right. Why should we have to pay for this? We didn't cause this PFAS, PFOA problem. And it's not understanding that it's not just PFAS and it's not just PFOA. It's also arsenic and uranium and lots of other contaminants out there. But there will be some backlash from the public who are naturally going to say, why should I have to pay for this? Why isn't, you know, 3M and DuPont and those guys paying for this, since they caused and Saint-Gobain pay for this? So I'm just saying,
But the reality is, right now, that doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
And that if something were to change drastically, like you're saying, and it could very well
Yeah, it
happen,
could.
then, you know, then people could get the money maybe and pay this whole loan back that they got, you know, at the time. This is a
Right.
way to solve people's problems now.
right,
Yeah,
And-
and I'm just afraid of
Right.
making insinuating any promise or
Right.
thought that they may be getting some loan forgiveness or some money downstream without that in your hand, because they're gonna say, well, you told me I was gonna get my loan forgiven, and how come it hasn't happened yet? You know, and that's what I worry about, is when we get into the actuality of the situation.
right. I just would never say you're going to get your loan.
I know you
forgiven.
wouldn't, but
and
somebody may hear
people,
that.
You know, it's hard to manage what people hear.
I agree with your, I agree with the, I agree with the concept, and like I said before, I was a little disappointed when the AG was only negotiating with St. Gobain's there on the restricted area. And it is a countrywide type problem.
It's international.
Right now, we're trying to move a mountain. This is a little piece.
Right.
I am not, like I said before, I would love to get with our senators and representatives and the governor and say, it's a $20 billion bill to fix this problem in New Hampshire. Hey, how about the rest of the states? What's going on here? That's how you get public attention, my opinion. But I understand what you're saying.
So let's circle back to finish the conversation. So the timing of getting these signatures,
So what I'm gonna, just to give, this is one of those things where I'm giving you the heads up the meeting before. So I'm going to come to your, Madam incoming chair, I'm going to come to your meeting on the 6th with we are going to come with a more well fleshed out plan. We've had internal conversations. We had a hour and a half roundtable where we hashed out what we wanted to do on this. And it was really good to hear everybody's ideas, right? We really kind of dug into all the options for this, and we landed on what we think is the most streamlined one for this first time to do this, because, you know, we joke about Londonderry leading the way. This really is leading the way. It is a way that we can help people get the connections, get the water from that main, which does no good in the main unless it's getting into somebody's house, right?
Correct.
So it's getting it into somebody's house we're not giving the money away, we're loaning it, we're getting it back.
Yep.
We are not raising taxes to do it at this first time. We're using the undesignated fund balance this time. I cannot promise anything in the future, but this time, this first round, we're using undesignated fund balance on the warrant article, provided that's how it moves through the council. You know, that's what we're proposing. We're trying to do this in a way that solves the problem all the way to the faucet, not just to the street. And that is something that most other towns aren't doing. And we can do this to pat all of you on the back because of the work and the support of the people like you guys, and the work that you've done to support this. So I just wanted to make sure you understood that. So I'll come with a clearer plan and a list of names saying, all right, who knows who, not publicly, but I'll be like, hey, if you could let me know which of these folks you could talk to, that'll be great. And then we'll go from there.
excellent, good start.
I have one question about this.
I hope
that
we have an answer.
As these, loans come in, let's say somebody comes in and they say, yes, I want to take advantage of this loan or whatever, and they're going to be paying it back in, I guess, in their tax bill.
Yes.
Are we going to ferret out some money from the tax bill to keep replenishing the fund?
So the fund, yes, that's a great question.
Okay.
So the money that comes back in that they repay, it actually has to go back by statute into the special assessment fund.
Okay.
So it'll be on their same tax bill, but it will be broken out, just like if you look at a tax bill now, you can see, veterans credit or whatever on there. You can see the credits and you can see the charges, and so you'd be able to see it on there. That money will come out and go back into the special assessment fund to replenish it. Now, it won't replenish it as, hopefully, knock on wood, as fast as we're
Right.
cranking it out there, because we want to get everybody who wants to get connected as fast as possible. But it will be paid back and will go back into the fund, yes.
Okay.
I have another question, that is, I think the town manager had mentioned about looking at how much tax money Pennachuck pays to the town of Londonderry and using that tax money perhaps for some of this.
Yeah, so we looked at the tax money from Pennachuck goes into the general tax revenue right now, right?
Okay?
So it's just taxed, utility taxes, just like taxes on residential property taxes, it goes into the general tax revenue.
Just like this other fund would go.
No, this is, special assessment is different. This would be separate from the general revenue. That's the difference. So special assessment is set aside. The taxes Pennachuck pays on their infrastructure, like I said, are just like anybody else's utility, any of the other utility taxes. What we did was we looked at that number for a starting point in this conversation to see how much, Pennachuck's paying in the general neighborhood, and this is a wildly estimated number, about $300,000 in taxes.
Why is it wildly estimated?
Because when we were looking at the tax rate, it depended on what year you were in, and the utility tax rate is set. That one is set, the tax rate for utilities is set slightly differently than the town one. It's not the exact same tax rate. It's from the state, from the DRA. So when we were trying to estimate what they were doing for this year's taxes, we were looking at this number 4 months ago, 5 months ago. So it's in the neighborhood of $300,000 is what Pennachuck pays. Based on the tax rate. Again, the state sets the tax rate for the utilities, and you might know more about this than I do, but I don't want to go into detail here because I don't know the detail. All I know is that the tax rate is set differently for utilities than it is for commercial and residential. And it's not done at the town level.
Right.
So roughly $300,000, but you see on the warrant articles that we're looking at $500,000 for the Water Capital Reserve Fund and $400,000 for the Water Special Assessment Funds. So the Water Capital Reserve Fund, that would be used for engineering, for grant matches, okay? Well, the Water Special Assessment Fund would be used from curb to house.
I understand, but would it not make sense, if we're talking about $400,000 for that one part of it, to use that $300,000 and change, and why could not that be used for that?
So if you take that $300,000 out of the general pool of tax money,
Yeah,
it then reduces the general pool of tax money
okay.
and would raise the tax rate.
Well, yeah, but not that much. Not that much.
Not a good time for that.
4.5 cents? So no, but seriously, 4.5 cents on the tax rate versus using undesignated fund balance, right?
Okay, it's all tax
So-
money.
It is all tax money, but one of them increases the money, increases the tax rate this year. The other funds it from undesignated fund balance, which
Well,
is
That's
money.
why we need to look at the budget and see but that's a whole discussion
That is
for
beyond
another
the
day.
scope of this board.
Yeah, way beyond.
Yeah. So John just had one more question and,
Yeah, I promise it'll be
Yep.
my last. The listening to Paul about the positive impact on property value of hooking up. When you do estimates to folks, and I think you heard I think there was a pass-through that they'll have to pay that won't be part of this special assessment.
yeah.
Will you take a look at the impact on their property value? Because obviously, and there's been a lot written recently about this, increases in property value equal, unless you're planning on selling, equals increases in the property tax that you pay. would you do an estimate? Do we have any feel for what's the positive impact of hooking up and what will be the impact on your property taxes?
I can certainly talk to assessing and see if they can do that. That is definitely beyond the scope of most people here. Finance, that type of valuation is very, very specialized. And so I can certainly ask our assistant assessor, Laura Keeley, if she can talk to Whitney and see if they would have some idea. I don't know, but I certainly can look into it.
Particularly if somebody, and I don't know if this happened or not, had less of an increase in their property value, for example, compared to the rest of Londonderry, because they were working off of contaminated water or had issues with their water, if they had perhaps a reduction in the growth of their property value. And now all of a sudden they get our fresh, clean water hooked up and their property value skyrockets as a result. And I don't know if that's an exaggeration, Paul, from your past experience, if it was a skyrocket or
Yeah, but
what.
what you're suggesting is hook up the water and then pay higher taxes.
Well, before we actually figure out that, before we say that that's what's going to happen, let's see if we can get some data on it. Let's see if we can get an answer, because the last thing we want is to come out and say, well, you're definitely getting higher taxes, because we don't know that, and deter people from hooking up and getting clean water. So we can certainly look at that. We can certainly ask the question. Like I said, I'll bring in Laura on this and have her look into it.
I think it's a valid question that would
Yeah.
be interesting to know.
Yep.
But
And again, want to reiterate, nobody's forcing anybody to sign up.
Yep.
Literally, nobody's saying you have to sign up ever. Nobody's saying you have to hook into this water. That's going to be anybody's individual choice. So, yeah.
I think it also behooves the town to
Sorry, and
focus
I mean,
on the
Martha was-
health. I know,
Martha, yeah,
but
sorry,
I
yeah.
got put aside about 5 times. If I could just say one
go ahead.
thing that I think maybe Martha was going to say. And that is, the public health implications need to be explained by the town in more depth, so people understand that this is really going to be helpful in terms of their kids, older adults, vulnerable communities. So they need to understand that having cleaner water is going to make a huge difference.
Then I guess one of us should do an
potentially for
editorial.
families.
Then I guess one of us should do an editorial.
Should do another what?
Editorial, like we did
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and also it's sort of getting the folks who are experts in this field, the folks who have medical backgrounds in here to talk about these issues, because I think the community is going to respect and listen to those folks probably better than other folks.
And to go back to what Paul was saying and the property values and whatnot, there are certain areas in this town that already have public water. And we could look at those neighborhoods and what houses are selling for in those neighborhoods compared to,
Yep. And I definitely, like I said, that is definitely something we want the experts to do, though. I would
Yeah.
want assessing and people who are experts in
Correct.
valuation to
Absolutely.
weigh in on that before
Right.
because I think that there's a lot that goes into that beyond
Absolutely.
just the utilities that we aren't sure about. So let me,
100%.
like I said, let me reach out and I'll get back to you about that for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Joy, did you have something? Or?
Super quick question. What were the number of households that we would be in this first?
In this first
round?
one, depending on whether South Road gets included, because that depends on what's happening with Old Country Village, and that's not 100% solidified yet. We're looking between 172 and 207, roughly, in the first pass.
Anything else? Any other items?
John had his hand up one more time. I don't have any more items,
I
but
lied, I'm sorry. but, there's been a lot of time spent in town council recently with, I'm not gonna use the word discount, programs for tax abatements for seniors, for vets, for disabled, I believe. And is there some thought about doing something like that for folks in this area that might really struggle even coming up with the assessment, the stuff that can't be passed through?
all of those abatements, exemptions, and credits are governed under state law. So there would have to be something done at the state level to provide to allow us to provide some sort of water system credit. So really, the most we can do at this point is the special assessment district, to help them cover the cost of the hookup. There's no, as far as I'm aware at this point in time, nothing at the state level that would allow for an abatement for municipal water.
That might be part of your conversation, I'm sure, not this Friday, but in the future, because what we've just heard you say, I think, is that somebody that can't afford to pay some of these fees will have to continue to live with contaminated water.
What I'm saying is that we as a municipality are going to help out with every single step of the process that we can legally do. We are bound by the laws of the state and what we can do in terms of tax law. It's very specific, and we can't work outside that. What we can do is work on these things to help people get an interest-free way to pay for their connection that can range into the tens of thousands of dollars. And while there's certain parts of it that we can't control, we certainly are going to do every bit that we can do for the parts we can and get people that much closer.
I'd like-
That's what I'm, that's what I, and that's all I can, that's all we as a town can do.
I'd just like to say something in that regard, and that is that, as you probably know, I go to a lot of the meetings up to Concord, and in talking to Amy Rousseau in the past, she indicated that even though Londonderry is a rather wealthy town, and that there is potentially money available for low-income or impacted or other communities other than, and so that should be something that we as a town look at to see what the availability is, and that's the discussion with New Hampshire DES. Thank you.
The fees that you were talking about, though, don't those pass through in the water bill
Yes,
that they'll get? So all of these homes, if they hook up, after they hook up, they're going to be getting a water bill.
Yes.
And I've been told that water bill is not excessive.
I pay $48 a month, right? Roughly between $40 and $48 a month. 3 adults in my household.
Yeah.
And it used to be more. After the rate case, it dropped. So that's what I pay.
Could we ask where you live?
I live on Mohawk Drive.
And
Mohawk.
I don't even know where that is. Where?
Back behind Crossroads and Renegades in that area.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I've always been on town water because my house was built after the Superfund site. So it was built with Southern New Hampshire. We moved in. We've gone through all the
Yeah,
changes.
And the water line goes right down there to South School.
I pay a similar amount.
Yep.
I pay a similar amount. We're off 102 across from the flea market.
Yep.
Complex.
Yeah. So
So that's where I am.
I just wanted to point that
Yeah,
out.
absolutely. I'm good.
Anything else?
I'm going
James,
to turn the
anything
mic
from you?
away. And you have anything
Hearing
like
the
that?
stimulating conversation?
No, I'm just trying to,
He's still on the learning curve.
it's a fairly steep curve.
It is.
Kirsten's really kind of pushing me to my limits here.
That's okay. We'll help you out.
And
We'll
this
help
is
you
just
out.
one singular piece.
Think of it as his pledge period right now, right? So there you go.
You'll be fine.
Pull the old sorority tricks.
I have confidence.
So, moving on down the agenda, master plan update status. Martha, anything to report?
Yes. The master plan, we had 2 public working sessions. The first one was on November 6th, and that had to do with future land use mapping. We had approximately 30 people in the room, members of the general public, citizens of Londonderry, and we had maps, and Southern New Hampshire Planning took notes. They went back, they had easels with pads. They took all kinds of notes of the feedback that we gave them. And then the second meeting, similar amount of people in the room. And that one dealt with the chapter that we're currently working on, which covers transportation, natural resources, economic development, and historic and cultural resources. John, I think you were there for that one too. And we got a lot of feedback from that, and they have taken all this information back. We are meeting this week on Thursday, the 18th, and we are going to be discussing the results of those working sessions and finalizing these chapters, and that will pretty much wrap up our master plan. Then we have to go to the planning board and get their approval, and then I assume it goes to town council after that. So we're hopeful that we will be, that this meeting on the 18th will be on those topics, and we'll be tying that up, trying to tie that up as tightly as we can, because they're going to be drafting the final master plan over the holidays, and we should have it by the sometime in January, I think. That's our hope.
Would there not be a lot of further discussion on the new chapters, this new chapter? With all these really important issues?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're definitely, the meeting on the 18th, where there's going to be a lot of discussion. We're going to go over all of that information that they took from those meetings, and.
Is it going to be the final approval, though?
No, it's not the final approval, no.
Okay.
Right now, I think they're targeting a March approval through the town council. You're correct, it has to go to the town council.
But after we complete all of what we're doing, then it goes to planning board.
Yep.
And then after planning board goes through it, then it goes to town council.
And what time of day is that meeting?
The meeting of, our master plan meeting on Thursday night begins at 6.
6 o'clock. Thank you.
My sense is that this thing has really kicked into high gear now. They are proceeding at a pace much faster than the first year or so that we spent on this thing.
These topics are more delineated topics than the first one was a very broad topic on land use and what they were doing with that. But yeah, there is pressure on us to complete it, yes.
You know what, and one of the things, concerns I had, I'm there as representative of the Heritage Commission. And there is a little sense in that commission and from the Historical Society that we're perhaps paying a little short shrift to that topic. And I'm sure conservation, some of the other groups may have some similar things, whereas there was a significant amount of time spent in those earlier chapters of the master plan, and that might be a conversation topic at the Thursday meeting.
I definitely think it will be.
There hasn't really yet been a meeting where you release the draft chapters and say,
Well,
public come in and,
the first draft chapter is online. It's on the website, on the town website.
right. But I mean, we've never had a meeting like this where the public can come in and comment on the draft chapter, right? I mean,
Well, all of the meetings of the master plan are open meetings.
no, I understand that, but there's never been,
Public participation is so important in regards to this, please.
Didn't they plan, I think there is a plan to have a couple of public sessions.
Yep.
I don't know if that'll be on finished product after it goes through planning board or prior, but.
I'm going to know a lot more after Thursday night.
because, I mean, like, I was at the one that we looked at the
Yes.
light use chapter, that was, that was gathering input. I mean, you know, there was a draft out there, but it was just a draft, and it seemed very clear that the input that they were seeking was to be integrated into that draft. So ultimately, then there has to be this final product, at least from the steering committee, that says, here's our draft, what do you think?
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened, but I'm glad to hear it's going to happen.
So Martha, maybe you could take an action after the meeting that coming up on Thursday, just send out what the schedule looks like
Absolutely.
to everybody, so you know what the schedule is and what the next, or what steps are remaining that everybody's gonna be paying attention to. At least we'll have that. I think that'll answer a lot of questions. Okay. Any other questions for Martha? Before we move off of administrative board work, one thing I forgot to say is we all were signed up for new terms, and everybody has to go to Sherry Farrell and pledge allegiance to the country, state, town. So just make sure you do that before the end of the year, otherwise you're not going to be able to sit up here at the January meeting. So I know it's on my list of things to do tomorrow. Moving on, subcommittee discussions. Talking energy first, so Paul helped me out when we started talking about community choice aggregation, but we had a phone call Monday with Freedom Energy Logistics. They have indicative pricing that's looking pretty good right now for us to launch the program in an April timeframe. We'll have the final numbers sometime in January, but right now, they're confident that we'll see at least a 10% savings off of the supply side of the energy bill that you see on your Eversource bill. And you know, I hate to talk too many numbers because a lot of the stuff, it's not final, so the numbers we're talking about are all approximations, but for the first 7 months of the year, we're looking at saving the Eversource customers roughly $850,000 in total supply
Wow.
costs,
Yeah.
split across all the customers.
You don't know where the prices will come in, but what's at play is over 100 million kilowatt hours
Yep.
in the town of Londonderry. So whatever you can save per kilowatt hour is applied to that base, if you will. Current indicative pricing saying there's a potential for about $1.4 million of savings on a yearly basis to the residential customers, based on price quotes as of December 11th, which won't hold. They will change. They're constantly dynamic pricing and all that type of stuff. So that's the kind of the possibilities, if you want to call it that. Contract can go anywhere from 6 months to 3 years. It's depending on what makes sense.
Yep.
The key here is waiting for the New Hampshire Public Utilities Commission to announce the supply rate, default rate, for the period February 1st through August 1st. That will not come out, we were told, roughly in mid-January or so. Once that comes out, we will go back to the market, reprice it, see what we can get. I was pleased to look at the type of participants they had to supply power. They're well-known names, reputable names and that type of thing, so that's good. And so we'll see what happens there. If it's a go, and it looks like it might be a go, then they would petition the Public Utilities Commission to start the aggregation process. There's a whole legal process you have to follow to do that. And the savings probably would begin in the April timeframe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope, April timeframe.
Yeah, that type of thing. There is a plan to possibly meet with the town council on January 5th. That was mentioned.
Yeah, Kirsten, I wanted to ask you if you can get us on the town council agenda for January 5th with Freedom Energy Logistics, Paul and myself. And we'll have a presentation. They'll have a presentation, probably 3 slides to present to the town council.
And what would you like the title of that to be in particular?
I'm sorry?
What would you like that to be, how would you like to show up on the agenda?
I'd like it as a agenda item, not
No, like
part.
the title.
Oh,
Community aggregation?
community aggregation program status.
So does the council have to take any action?
No,
No, so
it's
just
it's for awareness,
Okay, discuss community aggregation.
because when it comes time
I'm
for
gonna say
action.
community energy aggregation, so people know what you're talking.
Sure.
Or electric.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes time for the council to act, they'll have to act fast, so we want to brief everybody now so everybody understands what has to happen, the steps that we're all taking to make it happen.
They did have an additional request, if this thing moves, and they had quite a bit of the staff from Freedom participating. They are looking for a point person on the Londonderry staff they could coordinate with. From everything, if this is the time to go forward, it would be communication capabilities, they want to coordinate with the town, and they'd like to have a lead person. I don't need an answer tonight, I just, there'll be newspapers, information, there'll be contacts, senior citizens, forums, public hearings, so forth and so on. So that all needs to be coordinated
I'll
with
talk to
the
Sean.
town. Okay.
Perfect. But we've been waiting for this to happen for 2 years, for the market conditions to support it for 2 years, so it looks like we're finally, maybe, hopefully, going to get there. So I thought that was a really good call with them.
Excuse me, Lynn, one sec. Hey, Kristen, are we being recorded tonight?
I think so.
Yeah, all the equipment was on. anyway.
Oh, okay, because I don't see on air, so.
No, we're not on air.
Oh, we're not?
No, we're never live.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Y'all meet on Tuesdays, which is normally the school board night, so you're never live. You're recorded, but you're never live.
Yeah, we know we're second best.
Yeah, we got
We're used to
Very
that.
few boards. I think the maybe accompanying enthusiasm that comes with being a live broadcast board may be something that you might want to be grateful you don't have. Throwing that out there.
Point well taken. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is I do have a tour of the dairy solar farm over at the landfill off of Ford Way, scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. If anybody is interested in going to that, reach out to me and I will get you the directions and contact information. And I know I have it's middle of the day, I understand that too, but that's the best we can do at this point in time. So if you're interested in seeing what they have, they're not up and running yet. They're getting close, but if you're interested in seeing what they have and meeting with Jeff Moulton, who is their point person, and asking him any questions you might have, we'll have that opportunity tomorrow at 2
What
o'clock.
time?
2 o'clock. And Ray, if you're interested, I will send you, I'll give you a call with where we're gonna meet. So it's gonna be like going up to Concord. We're gonna be behind the gate, so if you show up late, you're not gonna get in.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Derry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You see, like going up to Concord.
Like
Oh.
going- If you show up late, you're not gonna get in, right? So
It's good to have a sense
It's
of
already got
humor.
me down, right?
okay, so any other questions for the Energy Subcommittee? James, we'll have to talk with you offline about we did an energy efficiency audit a while ago, and we have some good results that we're gonna share with you. Dave was waiting for you to come on board, so you can run with that information. So we'll
Just laughing because the number of times he's heard that in recent weeks is amazing.
It's, yeah, my head is really big right now.
But so we'll have a chat about that and just get your thoughts on that. And
Of course,
I think we can have a pretty good conversation on it.
absolutely.
I had a couple other electric items.
Sure, absolutely.
They're just informational, but the bipartisan infrastructure law part of that law was a chunk of money that went to the states to do a program, I think it's called HEAT, H-E-A-T, Home Efficiency something something. The New Hampshire Department of Energy is administering that program. So it's basically a federal grant to the state, and then the state will parse the dollars out. And it is, as near as I can tell, strictly focused on residential energy efficiency. It's broad, though, solar panels, heat pumps, insulation, heat pump, water heaters, heat pump dryers, a lot of different things. The Department of Energy, New Hampshire, is having a, I don't know if they're having a hard time, but they say that spring of '26 is their goal to roll this program out. They got the money, I think, in '24, so I think there's been a lot, well, we know there's been a lot of, what did Kirsten say, exciting, whatever the euphemism you use for why we don't want to televise.
Enthusiastic response?
Enthusiastic response, exactly. A lot of enthusiasm was going on at the federal level. So anyway, my thought was we should maybe start an awareness campaign so that it's going to be oriented toward low and moderate income people. So up to 80% of the median income in this area for your family size is going to be 100% covered up to, I think it's $10,000 or it's a good amount. Up to 150% of the median income, 50% covered. So, it's complicated, of course. It's a government program, but we need, and the people I think that are gonna most profit from it are probably the people that have the least time and opportunity to watch the TV tape of the utility committee. So we need to, and at the same time, I'm cognizant this is going to line up rather nicely with the effort to get the word out on the water main hookups. And I don't want there to be create a confusion. So we need to think carefully about how we do this. But I would like to find a way to start raising awareness so that, even if it comes out in April or May, that we got people that are lined up and we get to be first at the trough, so to speak, in terms of getting our people in town. And it also, when I think about that and I think about the getting onto the aggregation program, it's a kind of a partial response to the point, a very, very important point that John made earlier about people that don't have the ability to protect themselves from the poison that's in their water. Well, one way to do that is to think more broadly than just the water. If we can help people with their electric utilities, if we can help people with doing energy efficiency, then that's another way. Money is fungible. We can help them. Maybe get on the water system. That's information number one. Number two is I found out that the 30% direct pay program that I thought went down the tubes, in the One Big Beautiful Bill, along with all of the other credits, did survive for municipalities and nonprofits. It doesn't go very much longer, but it's at least a year and a half or so. So we may need to kind of relook at what we would like to try to do to take advantage of that. And then my third observation is that I think that one of the best places that you could put a solar array is right behind us here on the federal aviation land. It's just nicely cleared out, sits on a hilltop, faces more or less south. But I don't know if the FAA would be open to finding a way to have their system covered up there by their own electricity, or if they would see that as a problem. But if we could work out a deal with them. So I thought I would insert in James's ever-expanding head a request to figure out, is there a way to approach the FAA? How would we deal with them? You know, how do we talk to them about this?
That's certainly something I can look into. I do know the FAA are very, 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 very protective of their equipment.
I think we have Ted, that is liaison to the airport. Perhaps he could make some contact in that regard.
Yeah, it's not Manchester Airport land, it's United States of America land. You know, it's owned by the FAA.
Yeah, I know.
Which would make it even harder. But anyway, it's just, as a thought, I was looking at the map for other reasons, and I thought, oh, look at this big bald area of land here. It's just enough to hold a 5 megawatt array. So we'll see. That's all the trouble for tonight.
And Mike, what you brought up first there in regards to energy efficiency and homes and that money available, I believe there was a presentation at the library here that was presented by New Hampshire DES, University of New Hampshire, and what's that group you're with?
Sierra?
Club?
Sierra Club.
What's that group?
Right here in Londonderry, okay? And I think somebody should follow up with that. University of New Hampshire is involved with it. Obviously, the state of New Hampshire.
Right,
And-
but they were having a meeting on a particular document that
Were you there?
was, yeah,
You were there?
I saw you there.
Yeah, so, well, maybe you could explain, is that something in regards to this efficiency of houses or not?
No, I think it's something separate. I mean, what that meeting was about was a particular document that DES was working on that they wanted to comment on. It was basically about climate change.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, different.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the Energy Subcommittee?
Just, Mike, so this program, the first program that you're talking about, is sort of a New Hampshire Saves program, but income oriented.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's real money behind it. I think it's like 34 million to the state. So unlike New Hampshire Saves, that's, you know, usually runs out of money and is giving more advice than dollars. This is dollars.
Okay, moving on to water. Jeff is not here. Did Jeff?
I can give an update if you want. We didn't have a meeting last month. However, I did send out a request to Jeff just now if we can hold a meeting as soon as possible, based upon what Kirsten said. And
Correct.
and Kirsten, that meeting that we need to hold to get some work done, it needs to be before January 6th, right? Water Subcommittee meeting?
That or shortly after.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
that it necessarily would need to be before the 6th.
All right, okay.
I think we
thought it
could
was.
probably do it
All
after.
right, I'll relay it to Jeff, so
Yeah.
second week or third week in January would be okay?
I would maybe say, like, if this is a chance to do it the first or second Saturday after the meeting, that would probably.
After, usually we have it the second Saturday after the Tuesday
So
meeting.
that would still probably be fine.
I will probably send out a notice then, as your secretary. That's about it.
Any questions other than what we've talked about?
Are you taking any other comments? In regard to water?
Sure, that's what I'm asking.
Okay. So, as you probably aware, that myself and Kirsten and Martha actually met on Monday morning to discuss about what we were going to do with this water town hall. And it's something in progress that we can look at how we're going to proceed, how we're going to get the word out. One of the things we discussed is getting out information and how we're going to do that. One of the things was that we would work with the cable center, and I actually had the opportunity to go there and speak with Erin Rowe, who was one of the girls there, ladies, and Mr. Karen, what's his first name?
Drew.
Drew Karen. He wasn't there that day, but I did speak to him briefly at back here before a meeting. And so they would be perfectly willing to work with us when we figure out what we want to do. I also had an opportunity to speak with Ron Dunn in regards to this HB 737 commission that he is part of and that I have been asked to be a part of as a private citizen. And he actually came over to my house because I had a problem connecting on last week. And he said, well, I'll come over and we'll connect on. So he was nice enough to do that. It was about a 2-hour meeting. And we had a lot of expert testimony, questions, and so forth, a lot of it over my head, but quite important. And so there's a lot of people working on water contamination issues, primarily from St. Gobans, but they don't have direct involvement in that, other than some of the people are on the state legislature, and so they're involved in that way. I also spoke with Marge Bedoya from the Conservation Commission, and just briefly, that I believe that Conservation Commission can be of assistance, perhaps, in when we're talking about the protection of water sources in the town of Londonderry, particularly natural resources and which water is of most importance. I also had the opportunity to talk to Bob Slater, chair of the school board. The purpose of me talking to him was that, which I've said in the past, I think it would be really important that we have some of the students from the high school involved in the discussion of water issues. And he said, because I said, I don't know anybody at the high school. You know, I know what the principal's name is, and that's about it, to be honest with you. So he said, well, he says, I will call you back. So he called the principal of the high school, and he explained what my thoughts were, and he gave me his phone number. So I called him, and he was very, he thought it was very good. He thought it was something that perhaps he could talk to some of the teachers there. He could also talk to, I'm trying to think of the lady's name. It'll come to me. Anyway, she's one of the people, if I mentioned her name, you'd know who she was. At the high school, she's been there a long time.
Kim Susie?
No,
Katie Sullivan.
Katie Sullivan. And I don't know her personally. I've known her for years. I think actually my daughter, I think she was one of her teachers. So she's been there a long time, but she's a real organizer, particularly as far as the students.
Yeah.
And so the principal is going to talk to her. And then he said, perhaps we could get together or have a discussion in the future. So, what else we got here? Well, you know me. So, I hope I didn't get myself in trouble here, but I call Southern New Hampshire Planning, who oftentimes I go to the meetings anyway. And the lady I spoke to, I'm hell on names, is the nice lady that comes in here. What's-
Suzanne?
Suzanne, okay? And she seems like somebody that's quite easy to talk to, quite helpful. And the purpose of my call was this. The Southern New Hampshire Planning, as part of its environmental responsibility, offers guidance to, and technical assistance to members of a community in the protection of natural systems is a high priority. And she certainly agreed with that. But usually, if you want Southern New Hampshire Planning to do something, even though the town is a member, you have to ask for it. And if you don't ask for it, they're not going to do it, because they have other things to do. And right now, they are helping the town in a big way with the master plan. And, you know me, I just think that where we are with the master plan, we've spent a lot of time, 9 months, close to a year, talking about land use, and land use is extremely important because that's part of the natural resources, what's in the ground. So, I just think it's very important that we continue on and pay attention, and we're talking about getting the word out to the general public. And we're working on, Kirsten, Martha, and others are working on this, but, you know, we need help. We need to get the word out. We need to, somehow, I think, we should have some presentation at the video center here. Who's going to do it? Who's going to be involved with it? I want some of the students from the high school to be involved. But that discussion needs to be, somebody needs to take that discussion. And I don't think it should be me. I think it should be others that should take that discussion with the town and with the school and see if they think it's a good idea and think that some of the students should participate. I would like to have some of the students come to some of these meetings.
And that is part of the water summit that you were planning on having?
Yes.
Circling back around?
Have you thought then about, you mentioned Katie Sullivan at the high school. Do you think if you contacted her and talked to her a little bit about the January expo that you're sort of planning?
I haven't talked to her, no.
No, but I'm just suggesting that's the kind of thing you might want to do if you guys are planning the January sort of water expo, is to talk to her and see if her kids are as interested in coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
But-
if any of those kids have an environmental interest, environmental studies, environmental science interest.
But who should be the person to have that conversation with the school? I don't think it should necessarily be me. I mean, it could be. I'm perfectly willing to do that, but
So
Organizing the expo.
I have contacted Katie Sullivan. I'm hoping to have a conversation with her on Thursday. I contacted her before Thanksgiving about getting involved, you know, not just this group, but Beautify Londonderry as well. So I'm in contact with her and with the advisor for the Green Council, which is the student group that's involved in the. It's an after-school student group that is involved in environmental issues. And I'm going to, hopefully January, I've asked him if I could come in January to go to a meeting to speak with those students there. But I'm happy, Ray, to kind of be the liaison for that. I absolutely, and I know they have an AP Environmental Science. I think there are multiple classes in AP Environmental Science, one lead teacher, so that would be fine to reach out to him as well. And see if if I would just connect with you about what you're thinking for the water committee, that would be great. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's what we need. And,
Yeah.
you know, some of those students may actually want to go in the field of environmental science. You know, maybe it's not a lot of them. When I talked to the principal, he said, well, yeah, he says that's a good idea. He said there might be one or two. And I said, personally, I'd like to see about half a dozen.
My goodness.
You know, but we need to have that discussion with Katie Sullivan and the teachers and.
Right, and I think there's a good opportunity for students and for us, with, you know, when the town manager held that meeting, at, Orchard Christian, to just open it up for questions and things. There was a lot of talk on traffic, and I asked a question towards the end about natural resources and thinking about our water contamination as I'm reading this report, you know, that's on the Conservation Commission website that has information about our water bodies that are below, you know, water quality standards, surface water quality standards. And, you know, he mentioned that, yeah, Londonderry is way far behind. We have not been doing adequate testing of that. And so I think that might be an opportunity as well, because, I mean, although it wouldn't be regulated testing, but students, the water quality testing is a fairly easy, straightforward thing to do. That is, you know, something that high school seniors, juniors could be doing. So I think there's ELO, extended learning opportunities, that also exist for us to partner with here. But I agree with you, Ray. I think it's really important to bring the young people in, and get their ideas and get their input and get them interested. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know Pinkerton, at least a year or two ago, maybe a couple of years ago, had some of their students actually going out and doing water testing. You know, not necessarily for PFOS, but,
Yeah.
you know, for other things,
Yeah.
to see if there were any frogs still living in the pond, salamanders, stuff like that. You know, if,
Can we move on?
I'm sorry.
No. Good conversation, but just getting off of the agenda a little bit, sorry. Moving on, sewer and solid waste. John, any updates on sewer and solid waste?
Yeah, we had a meeting November the 22nd. A significant portion of that meeting was devoted to discussion about Recycle Works. Just to refresh everybody, Recycle Works is a proposed new facility to be built on the north end of town, sort of over near Stonyfield Yogurt. They would take in expired beer, soda, liquids, et cetera. They would also have a direct pipe from Stonyfield with their waste product, and then they would convert that to, for the most part, to methane and feed into the pipeline. So it's, from a recycling point of view, which is the primary interest of our committee, it's a very interesting operation. It's been through the Heritage Commission, and I don't believe, I didn't look, but I don't think it's been through planning yet.
It's been the Conservation Commission.
It's been to conservation now, too. So, so from a recycling point of view, I think, you know, we kind of like the concept. But there was a lot of conversation in the meeting, and I guess the consensus of the committee was that we had other concerns as citizens beyond the purview of the committee, that, you know, about traffic in the area. This is down Wentworth there, and there'll be a significant amount of truck traffic bringing in the expired goods and taking out. They not only recycle the liquids, but they recycle the containers and the cardboard and everything. So you'll have truck traffic in and out. So there was a concern about that.
Pretty heavy trucks, too.
Say again?
Heavy
Heavy,
trucks.
yes, yes. There was the discussion about the impact, certainly on water, because there is some water outflow from this process. Didn't sound like it was significant, but there's some for sure. This is in the middle of heavily forested area, wetlands up there. So there was concerns about that. And then, of course, whenever you're talking about recycling and expired goods, et cetera, you get worried about noise and odors and vermin, frankly. So while this is not a heavy residential area, it's an area that it is heavily forested, so there were concerns. So the end result of that was that, on behalf of the committee, we sent a letter to our liaison, Deb Paul, stating that generally support the idea of the recycling plant, but we had some unanswered concerns about impact on the town, as citizens. And we're waiting, we suggested basically that the town council step in either before or after a presentation of the planning board and have an open airing of what this company proposes to do and how they propose to do it, and answer some of the questions, so those things are addressed before we move too far down the road with them. So that's where we ended up. I have not heard back from Deb Paul. I did copy Ron Dunn, the chair, on that, because I happened to run into Ron in a CVS, and we just chatted about it, so.
John, do you happen to know, is this part of a bigger plan? There was a couple of years, probably about 10 years ago, Stonyfield was very interested in developing an eco-industrial park. And I'm curious as to whether or not this is a piece of that eco-industrial park, or if that concept.
They're certainly marketing it now, and when you're talking about getting through our process here in town, it is marketing, you're selling your idea. They're talking about it as, this was what the original Eco Park
Right.
concept was, and this would be,
10,
as a matter of fact,
15 years ago.
frankly, they're not using the company names, although the company is still there. They're calling this operation now, the Southern New Hampshire Green Energy Campus.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the answer to your question is, it's certain, I don't know if it's a piece or if it's the totality, but it's certainly working off of the original concept.
Although, first, Dan, it was about 20 years ago. And second, about 6, 7 years ago, we officially closed that as a town-sponsored initiative. It no longer exists. There is no such thing as the Londonderry Eco Park.
Well, they were gonna call it, I think at the time it was, it could have either been Stonyfield or Londonderry. I participated as an EPA staff person in those meetings. But that was with Nancy and Gary Hirschberg,
Yep.
when
Right.
those guys were in charge
Right.
of Stonyfield.
Anything else from sewer and solid
Yeah,
waste?
just briefly, we have a couple of things that are coming up for the next meeting. Joy is doing some research on compost equipment. We had an offer from the town manager to fund a program, much like solid waste did several years ago, more than several now, I think, to offer discounted, or maybe even better than discounted, composting equipment to residents who might be interested in moving forward with that kind of program. So he had some past experience in Lebanon doing that, and had even suggested, I think I heard him say that he was able to negotiate a deal with Home Depot to get a reduced cost on them. So we're exploring that right now. We are still continuing. I followed up on Ray's meeting with Sherry Farrell on doing a mailing on dog waste. I love bringing this topic up, it's my favorite, okay? And then the proper disposal of dog waste, and sent Sherry a digital copy of our brochure on that, and of the DPW's brochure on that. And then we're waiting for a response from her on that. There's a question about privacy and using the email address of registered pet owners to send them things, so she's exploring that. But she might be able to help us in other ways if we can't do it that way.
Do they get the brochure when they come in for their license?
I don't think that they do at this point. I don't know that they have to come in anymore for their license. I think they register online. I think that's the great majority of folks. That's the way it happens now, so. But she does have email addresses on most of those guys. It's just a matter of, can we use them in that fashion? Okay, and so we don't know the answer to that. And then I've asked the members of the committee for our next meeting on December the 27th, when I will be recovering from having 8 grandchildren stay at my house for 3 nights. Okay, on the 27th. I've asked everybody to come into that meeting with at least some thoughts on paper as to their contribution to the strategic plan using the worksheets that were provided, so we can discuss that.
And Alka-Seltzer.
Amen. Okay. I love thinking about them coming, and I love when they leave.
Any questions for John?
Can I comment? I had the opportunity to go to the town of Bedford.
Oh, it's not happening.
The reason I went there is they have a new solar farm, quite extensive. I went there actually to talk to the town manager, and the reason is because I went to high school with his father and mother. His father's passed away, his mother's still alive. Anyway, he was not there, but I talked to his assistant. And I was allowed to go up to their DPW to view their solar farm. It is cordoned off, it is gated off, so you can't actually walk up there, but you can see it. I mean, I took some pictures of it. They did need 3-phase power, which they had to bring in. And so, once again, it'd be interesting in talking to them, Derry, and others that are involved in these things, and see how, it's working out for them, because we can always learn.
Sure. Let's finish up with the subcommittees, and we'll touch if there's anything else you want to
Okay,
discuss
fine.
when we do roundtable.
Okay.
Anything else on solid waste?
No, that's it.
John, anything?
Yep, I do actually,
Sure.
real quick, because we're running late.
Yep.
For the last couple of months, I've been doing some troubleshooting, trying to talk with the network engineers. In different parts of the town, you will see complete outages. And we finally put it's a special meter on. And again, they measured it. Now, it ranges from, you go to change the channel and nothing happens, and it says, please check your cables. Or if it's after 12:15, 12:30, by the way, that's when you update your cable boxes, the football schedules change and all that stuff. For some people, it doesn't work at all. You go to change the channel and nothing happens. Anytime during the day, if you record anything more than an hour, and you use a function to fast forward or pause or whatever, it exits you out and makes you start over again, okay? So when people call me, I tell them, you've gotta call them and log a call. This way, when I call and talk to the network engineer, I say to them, all right, how many calls you get in what district, called districts, or areas of the problems happening? So either yesterday or today, I can't get an answer from them, because I kind of keep them tight to their vest on this. These people would get the following message: hi, it's Xfinity Assistant. We're gonna let you know that we're scheduled to do work to enhance the Xfinity network in your neighborhood, starting on.
I got it.
You got
A
it?
number of times,
Good.
yep.
Mine starts on 12/19, which is all the Gordon Homes, everything toward Pillsbury behind there. You can expect outages starting early in the morning at 58, where I live, Silver Cern. Possible to finish within the day. That's bad news and good news. It tells me they are finally addressing the server incompatibility problems, which affects this state, California, and other ones. So, we'll let you know, because if as soon as it's done, I've got scripts to run, so I can change my DNS, do timing changes, and check things like that. Hopefully, it'll work a lot better.
Awesome,
Okay, that's it.
awesome. Good news.
Just one question for John.
Yeah.
They did our neighborhood. We got that whole thing. They shut us down for the day. I got nothing from them, other than you're not gonna have service for a day. They didn't tell me if I should change something after the fact. Should something have happened? Should I notice something?
Hopefully it's
I mean,
working better?
What should be better? Okay,
Right.
tell me something about it. It's a black hole.
You telling me? I mean, I scare them because they finally figured out, oh, you're a network guy. Yeah, watch, I'll show you. I plug my laptop into my box, and I can see everybody on the street. And I can run the speed test. And he goes, well, but you shouldn't do that. I said, but you should be fixing this. I live across from the old head-in site. So when things go wrong, I know what's happening. I also have a meter on my network that tells me when it goes off. Now, I have voice over IP, I have my TV, and I have my network for my computers. I say computers is 4 or 5 of them. So I can measure how long it's out. And just like in your cable box, what's happening is when you go to fast forward, it loses that connection. It loses your DN address, doesn't know who you are, has to make a reconnection and say, hi, I'm here, and you're back on the home screen for Xfinity. That is not good. So hopefully, and again, for some people, the newer people in town, some actually do have fiber. It's fine. But a lot of us still have copper, cable. So it's still a journey. You're right. They should say something like, well, you should see improved enhancements, you shouldn't see network outages, and you should see better response. I mean, sometimes my downloads are almost 1 gig, which is what they advertise. Other times they're 20 milliseconds. You know, it's like stalled. So hopefully, I'm glad to hear they did your area, so that means they're doing a little at a time, but still. So I know they got some private contractors now too helping out, so. All right, thank you. That was it. I'm trying to keep it short.
Good, so moving on, roundtable, we're gonna start with Joy.
Sure. Welcome, James. Good to meet you here. Lynn, thank you very much for your work on this committee and prior to that on the Sewer and Solid Waste Committee as is. So thank you for all that you've done. And
Thank you.
and looking forward to have Martha as the chair. Happy holidays to everyone. And I will publicly state my husband does all the shopping. So
Very good.
Yeah, trained him well.
Congratulations, Martha. And I hope Santa Claus is good to everybody. Happy holidays.
Ann?
I just want to reiterate that Mindy is coming, and I will be able to tell you the date in March. I was trying to get her early in March. This is Kirsten's suggestion, get her through to the library speakers program, so we were able to do that. And I'm hoping that it's going to affect the warrant articles. My point was to get her there so people understood the health impacts. And same, I wish everybody a happy holiday, and definitely wish send many congratulations to Martha.
Thank you.
John?
Welcome the second time. We met before.
Yes.
Thank you for all the guidance you gave me and all those personal conversations we had. Have a good time. I'll be here to help. And happy holidays, everybody, and please stay healthy. I've been through a medical
Yes.
scare with my wife. You gotta count your days. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
Martha?
very much so. I also wish everybody happy holidays. I'm looking forward to next year continuing on in your role, and hopefully I can fill your shoes. And I enjoy working on this committee. Thank you.
Mike?
I add my congratulations to you, Lynn, and welcome to you, James. Martha, if this chair thing doesn't work out, don't come back after me just because I nominated you. That's it.
John?
Martha, congratulations. And Lynn, I've had the pleasure of being on committees with you for a few years now.
Long time.
And appreciate the calm you've brought when I've had my moments of irrationality, okay? And
When you're being a salesman.
and sincerely wish you the best in all future endeavors. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Ray?
Martha, congratulations. And Lynn, thank you for all you've done and will continue to do. You're still here. And James, thank you, and we hope to be working with you. And Martha, at any time, just like Lynn said, Ray, that's enough. We're gonna move on
Give me
here.
the gavel.
So you can do that at any time. Use the gavel whenever you want.
Now
Thank
you
you.
tell us.
That's what Lynn was just saying.
That's all I got to say.
So I got scolded today because I ran into Ray at Walmart, and we started harassing each other. My wife goes, "You are so rude. You don't even know that guy."
So James, everybody has an opportunity to speak whatever's on their mind at the end of these meetings, so anything you'd like to add?
I just appreciate the opportunity to be part of the committee and just continuing to see what I can provide for the town of London area. I'm in my 6th week, and I keep coming back, so.
Tell him anything yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not listening.
By the way,
Oh, no, I'm listening.
that sugar jar at your office is dummies.
Kirsten?
Lynn, thank you. Just thank you.
And
Martha, let's go. And all of you have a wonderful holiday if I don't see you again. And for those of you who want to go to Concord, let's go ask for some money.
So, next meeting is Tuesday, January 6th. Martha will be holding the gavel. She has a heavy hand, so be ready for that. And with that, any other business to conduct tonight? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Now, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Good night and Merry Christmas, everybody.